So, James, picture this. You've just moved to a brand new country, you barely speak the language, and boom, your very first date is tonight.
Oh man, that's like jumping out of a plane and trying to fold your parachute on the way down. High stakes, major nerves, and no room for a translation error.
Right? That's exactly what our friend Chris is dealing with. He's got the charm, he's got the courage, but his English? Let's just say it's still under construction.
And when emotions are involved, that's when things get really interesting. Like when Chris tried to say chicken parm and ended up telling his date he loves chicken farms.
It's awkward. It's hilarious. And honestly, it's completely relatable. Because learning English, especially for real-life situations like dating, isn't about being perfect. It's about being real.
Today, we're diving into how to survive, thrive, and even flirt in English through stories, tips, and some laugh-out-loud moments that prove confidence comes from connection, not perfection. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's jump into the wild world of dating while learning English. This is going to be fun. Welcome to All About English.
Right. So here's the deal. Chris has this first date, and everything's going great until they start talking about food. He wants to say his favorite dish is chicken parm, but somehow he says chicken farm instead.
No way.
His date just kind of blinks at him like, huh? And he keeps going, explaining how much he loves farming chickens because it's so tasty. Can you imagine her face?
I can't. It's too good. But honestly, moments like that, as awkward as they are, can be kind of endearing. Shows you're trying, you know?
Totally. And let's face it, everyone loves a good laugh on a date, right? Chris might have turned tomato red, but at least his date was laughing with him, not at him.
And honestly, I think that's a big part of building confidence in another language. Being willing to roll with the punches. Mistakes are going to happen, but how you handle them says a lot about you.
Exactly. And as Chris kept learning English, he started feeling way more sure of himself. Not just about ordering food correctly, but also about expressing how he feels.
Yeah, because once you're comfortable with the language, you can focus on the connection, not the mechanics of speaking. It's empowering, really.
Which brings us right back to Chris. He's learning that speaking from the heart matters, even if the words aren't always perfect. And hey, there's nothing more attractive than someone who's genuinely trying, right?
Absolutely. I mean, building that bridge through language, especially in something like dating, it just shows you care enough to really connect.
So after fumbling through chicken farm and a few laughs, Chris is sitting there, heart pounding, thinking, okay, I got through that. Now what do I even talk about next?
Yeah, that's a classic. I mean, getting the ball rolling is arguably the hardest part, especially when you're not super confident in the language yet.
Totally. But here's the secret. Start simple. A question like, what's your favorite movie? Boom. It's like an instant door to a whole conversation.
Right, and it's open-ended too, which is key. You're not going to get stuck with a yes or no. Plus, everyone's got a favorite movie story, so you're already digging into something personal.
Exactly. Or how about this one? Do you enjoy any sports? That's such a safe bet. People light up when talking about things they're passionate about. Like, imagine Chris saying this on his date, and suddenly they're both geeking out about soccer.
And it doesn't have to stop there. From sports, you've got follow-ups like, have you ever been to a game? Or even, what do you think about how they play in the World Cup?
Oh yeah, those follow-ups are clutch. And it makes the conversation flow naturally, which is what we're aiming for.
Exactly, and something I think isn't talked about enough is body language. Chris doesn't have to rely entirely on the words, you know? A smile, nodding, even keeping steady eye contact. It can all show he's engaged.
Totally. And when he mirrors gestures without overdoing it, it's like this little secret signal that says, hey, I'm on the same wavelength as you. It's subtle, but people notice.
For sure. And you know what else? It's okay to drop in phrases that buy him time, like, that's interesting, tell me more. It's simple, but it keeps the ball rolling if he feels stuck.
Oh my gosh, yes. It lets his date do some of the conversational heavy lifting while he catches his breath. I mean, who wouldn't love that?
Exactly. And that's where Chris can really shine, by showing he's listening. People love to feel heard, not just talked at, so when he picks up on little details and circles back to them, it's game over in the best kind of way.
Right? Honestly, it's little things like that that make such a huge difference. Chris is learning that connecting is about way more than just perfect language skills. So, as Chris gets better at connecting, there's one thing we can't ignore: misunderstandings. They're like bound to happen when you're learning a new language. But the key isn't avoiding them. It's handling them with confidence.
Absolutely. And honestly, some of the best conversations can come out of a little misunderstanding, as long as you don't let it derail you.
Exactly. So imagine this. Chris is on a date, and his date says something he doesn't fully catch. First move? Easy. He can just say, "Could you say that again?" It's polite and it shows he's engaged.
Right, or one of my personal favorites. "I'm not sure I understand. Can you elaborate?" That one buys him a bit of time and helps keep things clear.
Oh, I like that. It's respectful and keeps the flow going. And if he's feeling a little playful, he could even say something like, "Wait, did you just say spaceships? I might need to hear that again."
Oh, I love that. Adds a little humor, which can totally help ease the tension. Plus, it gives his date the chance to laugh with him, not at him.
Exactly. But here's the real trick. Open-ended questions, like, "What's a place you've always wanted to travel to?" Boom. That could spark a whole conversation about dream destinations.
Totally. And then he can follow up, like, "What's so special about that place?" Or, "Would you want to live there or just visit?" It shows genuine interest.
And the best part? It takes the pressure off him. His date is doing most of the talking, and all he has to do is react and keep that curiosity alive.
Yup, it's kind of like the more curious he is, the easier the conversation flows. I mean, people love talking about what excites them, right?
Totally. And here's where Chris nailed it. On a recent date, he brought up music, right? He asked, "What's your all-time favorite song?" A simple question, but you'd be amazed at how personal it got.
Oh, I can see that. Music's such a big window into someone's personality. What happened next?
So here's the cool part. His date said something like, "Oh, I love old school jazz." And Chris had this golden follow-up. "That's awesome. Do you have, a favorite artist?"
Smart move. That's such a great way to build a connection. And I bet his date lit up talking about their favorite artist, huh?
Oh, totally. They ended up geeking out over Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald for an hour. And all because Chris stayed curious and asked follow-ups.
That's the magic right there. Just being present and genuinely interested. It's not about having perfect grammar or the wittiest comeback.
Exactly. And those little moments where they connected over shared interests? That's what made the date so memorable. Chris left feeling like he totally nailed it, language hiccups and all. So, James, after a date full of laughs, shared interests, and maybe even a little magic, Chris is feeling great. But here's the million-dollar question. How does he wrap it all up on the perfect note?
Right, because that ending can leave a lasting impression. You want to wrap it up in a way that feels natural, but also opens the door, if he wants to see them again.
Exactly. So, let's think about this. Chris could go for the classic, "I had a really great time tonight. Would you like to do this again sometime?" Simple, direct, and honestly, kind of charming.
Totally, and what I like about that is it doesn't feel forced. It's genuine. Plus, it puts the ball in their court without being too pushy.
Right? And here's the thing. If Chris isn't sure about where things stand, he can keep it casual. Something like, "Tonight was a lot of fun. Let's keep in touch." It's friendly without overcommitting.
Yeah, that's smart. Sometimes keeping it light lets both people walk away feeling good without any awkwardness. And hey, there's nothing wrong with leaving the door open for friendship.
For sure. But okay, let's say Chris is pretty into this person and doesn't want to leave it up to chance. What's another way he could end strong?
Well, he could say something like, "I'd love to see you again. Are you free next weekend?" It shows confidence and interest, which are both attractive, but it's still respectful.
Oh, I like that. It's direct but not overbearing. And the key, I think, is reading the vibe. If the date went super well, that kind of approach feels natural. But if it was just okay, it's probably better to keep it a little more low-key.
Totally. And another thing Chris should keep in mind, nonverbal cues are huge here. Sometimes even a smile and saying, "I really enjoyed tonight," can say more than words.
Exactly. And honestly, it's about leaving them with a warm impression. Whether that's a lighthearted goodbye or a solid plan for next time, it's those final moments that kind of tie it all together.
And let's not forget, Chris should also thank them. A simple, "Thank you for tonight," goes a long way in showing appreciation. It's classy.
Absolutely. Because really, it's not just about what Chris says, it's about how he makes them feel. And if he walks away feeling good too, then that's a win in my book. We've talked about how to end the date on a great note, James. But what about the start? Chris is planning his date and is curious. Does it really matter where they go?
Oh, absolutely, it matters. The location kind of sets the vibe, doesn't it? It's got to be somewhere comfortable where they can actually talk and get to know each other.
Right. So, like, maybe not the movies for a first date. Sure, it's low pressure, but you're just like sitting in the dark, not talking. What's the point?
Exactly. Something casual works better, like a coffee shop. It's chill, no big commitment, and if things are going well, you can always extend it from there.
Totally. And, it's less intimidating. Plus, there's coffee. Literally no downside. But okay, what about a second date? Should Chris step it up a notch?
Definitely. That's when you can get a little more creative. Maybe go for something like a casual hike or even a fun activity like bowling. It keeps things light but shows he's put some thought into it.
Ooh, I love that. A hiking date is kind of perfect. Fresh air, great conversation, and you're doing something together. Honestly, by date 2, building memories like that is so important.
Right. And it shows effort. Like Chris isn't just picking the first thing off a list. He's actually trying to create an experience they'll both enjoy.
Exactly. And speaking of effort, what about gifts? Should Chris bring something on the first date, or is that too much?
Good question. I think it depends. Something small and thoughtful could be nice, but it's definitely not a must-do for a first date.
Totally agree. Like maybe a small flower. It's cute, but it won't feel over the top. But bringing like a dozen red roses? Yeah, no. Too much pressure.
Yeah, keep it simple. It's the gesture that counts. And honestly, just showing up on time and being present is the best gift he can bring, cheesy as that sounds.
Not cheesy at all. Actually, it's kind of perfect. The best dates are about connection, not grand gestures or fancy surroundings.
Exactly, and Chris is already learning that confidence and curiosity go a long way. Way more than the perfect location or gift ever could.
For sure. At the end of the day, it's how he makes his date feel that they'll remember most. And honestly, I think Chris is crushing it with how much he's grown.
Couldn't agree more. He's proving that it's not about saying every word perfectly or having some over-the-top plan. It's about showing up, being genuine, and making that connection.
And on that note, I think we've officially wrapped up Chris's dating adventures, at least for now.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling our guy Chris has plenty more stories ahead. Maybe we'll hear about them next time.
And that's a wrap on Chris's dating adventure, at least for now. Whether you're learning English for love, work, or just to connect with the world, remember, every awkward moment is one step closer to confidence.
Totally. If you got a laugh, learned something new, or just enjoyed hanging out with us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you never miss an episode.
And hey, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know what topics you want us to cover next.
Thanks for tuning in to All About English, where learning the language is just the beginning. Remember to be kind to yourself and others. Your future is bright. See you next time.